Good morning, everybody. Hi, this is Lee Bailey, one of your hosts on Fridays. My other host is Lesley. Hi, Lesley. How are you?
Hey, how are you? How is everybody?
I hope everybody's
they're all
doing
having
well.
amazing days.
Indeed.
So, I'm trying to get my watch party started, so
Okay.
don't think I'm not fully present.
No, I know that you're fully present. And even if you're half present, that's more than enough. But let's see. So today I thought what we would talk about, ladies and gentlemen, and I put it in the little synopsis of the show there, is that we talk about encouragement and joy. How do you accept that, and how do you put it out there? And so we can talk a little bit about that today. Lesley is always a joy. Always pushing joy.
I haven't always been.
Well, we're not talking about that. It's all about what's happening now and in the future. Yes, what's going to happen. Yes. So actually, the present is the most important thing.
That's all we got.
Yeah, that's all we got right now. And then, but there's a good chance that we have stuff going on in the future, so we can plan things down the road. Some people say, well, I don't plan because we don't know what's going to happen. Well, yeah, but you got to kind of assume, I think, and sometimes that there's going to be a tomorrow. I know it's not promised, but you got to assume that it's going to happen, and you got to be ready for it. And
exactly, yeah. But then it's almost like, in nature, how there's cycles. But it's almost like I think of a river, and the river is the cycles that could fluctuate between these two. And then within the river is a river going the opposite way. And that allows for the flow in between the two sides of what is acceptable and will still be okay. Sure. So it's the give and take of the planning, but yet the go with the flow too.
Sure, absolutely. You gotta flow, and you gotta give and take. There's no doubt that both of those work. You have to, that's what makes a good relationship work, is you have to be able to accept the other person, their, the good stuff and the bad stuff, because there is going to be flaws. Everyone's flawed. Of course, we're all flawed. And just to have respect for those flaws, and love can rise above any flaw. And we just kind of remember that, so that everything can work out in the long run. And, sometimes we come into that knowledge a little late in life, but that's okay.
Never too late.
Never too late. No, but sometimes we will have already put something aside forever that maybe if we'd had this knowledge and this wisdom now, that's one of the things. That's why they say don't look back, because you'll see stuff that you've let go, and you'll see stuff that you wish you hadn't let go, or that you didn't necessarily have to let go. That's back there.
I found that anything I've gone and truly come back to with love, I've gotten back.
Yeah, that's true.
I know it sounds crazy, but like every relationship that like I had strife in that I've gone back to at this point, every one of them is great now.
That's good.
I've never had anybody be like, no, I don't accept what you say, because because it's and I'm not saying I'm all that or anything, but it's like when you get to that point and you're really truly not the same person, I always use the term, you can smell it.
Yeah, you can smell it, you can see it, you can everything. I mean, I remember one of the great stories that I was told. I used to be part of a group called Curseal, and it's kind of like some other Walk to Emmaus, and there's some different groups. Anyway, I was on the team, and we had the candidates, quote unquote, came in, and it's a retreat, a spiritual retreat.
Okay.
And it's really interesting that one of the guys, when he got home, it was a men's retreat. Men's retreat, believe it or not, were way more emotional than the women's retreats.
I would think so.
Because
you guys have repressed your feelings.
Hey, there's no women around. There's no women around to guard against that emotion. So
right.
Yeah, it comes flowing out. Anyway, So he goes home, and he said he walked in. He opened the door, and he walked inside, and he looked up on the there's a split level house, and his son looked down at him and said, "What the hell happened to you?"
You're glowing.
He was just standing there. He goes, "What do you mean?" I mean, he was like, yeah, something happened, but but his son could see it.
Right.
And his son wasn't even. I mean, his son didn't even attend our church very, very rarely, except for big services and stuff like that. But he looked down and said, "The hell happened to you, Dad?" He could just see it in his whole countenance.
Yeah, it's so
in
true.
his countenance. Your countenance will change. I don't know that I know the definite definition of countenance, but it's kind of who you are. And your whole being is your countenance, and your countenance will evolve if you let it.
I almost think it's just getting back to who you were in the beginning.
Maybe. Right. No, I don't doubt that.
It's like remembering. It's like, when they call things an awakening. It's almost like you're remembering. Oh my gosh, I used to love that when I was a kid. Now I get why.
Exactly. Exactly. And you put away stuff like that. I mean, we're supposed to put away childish things as we get older, but that doesn't mean we put away having fun.
Yeah. No. Well, now I'll say I've never put that away, but
exactly.
I definitely put away different aspects of things that I
sure
as a child. Well, and now looking back, I'm like one of them is I don't. Sometimes I hate to say this, but sometimes I'm like, I talk to so many people. I'm like, I hope I'm not repeating a story. So if I ever am, just tell me to shut up.
No, that's okay.
But I remembered through my whole spiritual growth journey, I started remembering when I was little, I would get up on summer vacation, and I would literally, not get up the night before. I would plan my next day out in 5-minute increments for the entire day. And then the next day I would get up and I would follow it.
Right.
To the T. And I found that so fun. And then I thought, when I grew up, as I got older, I was like, I hate authority. Nobody tells me what to do. And then I thought, I was always like, I hate schedules. I just want to go with the flow. And then I realized I like schedules if I make them.
Yeah. No, sure.
And so
that's right.
I started and I'm like, now I get what the meaning of a ritual is. That's really what habit stacking.
Well, that's what religion, as the definition of religion, is to regularly do something.
Right.
It's not, there's nothing spiritual to it. There's nothing it's just that you go to church every Sunday. That's why it's a religion. I mean, it's something you do every Sunday. Religion doesn't necessarily have anything to do with God at all. It just has to do with your schedule. It has to do, is this your schedule? Are you religious to this schedule? Exactly. A lot of people don't realize that that's exactly what that means. And it doesn't mean that you have anything to do with God just because you go to church every single Sunday morning.
Oh, yeah.
It just means that you're religious. That's what it means.
Right. Well,
it doesn't mean you're spiritual.
True. Very true.
I'd like to think that if you go to church every Sunday morning, you're going to get something out of it. I'd like to think that. But, I've also met people who I go, weren't you just listening in there?
But you know what? It's one of those things where it's and I'm not saying you're doing
no.
anyone by saying that, but it's one of those things too, though, that you'll think that, and then you're like, but you know what? That's the first step, because it's kind of listening. Right. It's kind of whenever you heard a song your whole life, but then a year later you really listen to the words, you're like, wow,
yes,
that was a profound song.
Yes,
that Van Halen.
That happens with me
more than I realized.
Doing a radio. By the way, I'll plug my radio show every morning, 11 to 2. We'll have it on today at from 11 to 2 also. But playing music, I sometimes am sitting here by myself. I'll play a song and I'm kind of got a break from doing other stuff, and I'll just sit and listen to the song and go, I never knew that song said that. I've never really realized. Well, sometimes to the detriment of this to me. I mean, I'm like, oh,
Oh yeah.
I never knew that's what that song was about.
One of those ones for me is I was like, that's what Night Moves was about.
Yeah.
Working on our
Night Moves.
Like,
yeah. Right. Right. Which is still,
I mean,
I know.
It's not. I mean, what they're putting out today. I mean, come on, that's very tame. But the underlying theme of it, I never really looked at it that way. It just was a catchy tune.
And then a lot of these rock bands, that's exactly what everything they wrote is about. Hey, girls, let's get something going on.
But not all of them. Like I listen to Van Halen right now. It's that magic moment. It's the here and now, the present moment. I was like, that Sammy Hagar was deep.
Yeah.
Or even Pound Cake. He's talking about how he likes his women like pound cakes. They don't have any frosting on them, so you know exactly what you're getting. He doesn't want all that frills and fluff. He wants somebody that's good-hearted. You know, and it's like, wow, those guys, like, some of that stuff was kind of
pretty deep.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any recent ones that you've been?
I don't. Wow. I can't pull anything right now. I can pull stuff that I don't like to listen to anymore. I go, man, I can't play that. I can't put that on, especially on MoreJoy radio. I can't play that song.
Right.
I don't mind playing songs that have some sexual overtones if they're sensual and they're respectful and they're talking about a spouse or a girlfriend, not just women in general. I don't mind those songs at all because those are good songs to listen to if you're with your girlfriend or whatever, and you're hanging out, or boyfriend, whatever. And so there's some of those songs.
If there's a way to put a decent intention behind it.
Exactly. It's not just crude and, and I guess, maybe there's a place for those songs too, just not on MoreJoy radio. That's all.
Right.
So, we want to be unique. We want to be joyful. We want to be positive. We want to promote, positivity and caring and love and joy and all that kind of stuff. So, and some songs just don't really talk about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But I like the songs like Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And, I like those songs. I've just recently decided that I'm looking into, or at least I'm doing I'm dipping my toe in the puddle to see about doing, I've always done sports my whole life, and MoreJoy is going to evolve into covering sports at some point. And that'll be a separate entity, a separate thing going on. But I'm thinking that I might dedicate to just covering women's sports.
Oh, that would be cool.
Because there's nobody else that does that. I like to do things that nobody else is doing. Right. There's nobody that just does women's sports.
Right.
You know what I mean? And for years, there was lots of people did nothing but men's sports.
Right.
Maybe sprinkle in a women's score or something like that, especially with the Olympics. Oh, guess what, everybody? Our girls were in this Olympics. Yay!
Or here's all these stats about the men. And by the way, the women did this. So
exactly.
So I like that. I think that's a good idea.
We have women's sports, gymnastics. It's for all those dirty old men sitting at home to watch.
You know what? I feel like my favorite sports have always been ones that are more about like the PR records as opposed to like competing against other people. But I'm not so I've always liked gymnastics or like things that would be like figure skating and things like that. Now I'm not gonna lie, like you will never find me watching a football game on TV. I don't even know who's playing on the Super Bowl.
Right.
Like I just have it's how I grew up. My mom never was into, like, my parents just weren't into that stuff. So
right.
And then with being in real estate, I'd have I worked so much
on open houses on Sunday.
Well, yeah, and then when I'd have a day off, I don't want to sit in front of the TV and watch guys throw a ball around. I want to go hiking. I want to get out of the house and
go do something fun.
I don't want to sit on the couch.
Yeah, and I tell you, in my older age, I've gotten away from watching games. I mean, I don't watch that many games. I try. Typically, though, Sunday after. No, I know. But typically Sunday afternoons, I'll start watching a Redskin game, and I'm out by halftime.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, they're great for napping for me.
Yes, yes. Oh yeah, you just sit back on the couch and okay, I'm gone.
Yeah, but there's a little bit that background noise. It's actually familiar.
Kind of puts you exactly, exactly. So yeah. No, that was something that it was always joyful for me, is to take a nice little snooze while I'm watching the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then wake up, and see some highlights from the first half. Oh, yay.
Eat some food.
That's what happened.
Right.
Kind of. It's just when you fall asleep and you wake up in the next game. It's like, what happened?
Yeah. Where am I? No.
What happened to my game? It's gone. Or I wake up and there's nothing on because my wife turned the TV off, and she's like, "Well, he's sleeping,"
Not this man.
No, when I used to try and do that to my dad, change channels while he was sleeping, he'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He'd wake right up. Like, I thought you were asleep. I thought I was going to watch something else. No. Put it back. So tell me about, did you have any chances this week to encourage anybody that you can remember exactly? Do you have a recollection?
That's too much. We're gonna have to be here for hours to get all that in. No, I'm not. I try to do it with everybody.
Yeah,
I come into contact with. I don't know that I have. This might. I'm not going to get into all the details because the person could guess things, but this actually ties back into the songs, which I could kind of share. I have a new theory in life. It's called the Pina Colada theory.
Yes, we talked about this once.
Yeah. So I have a lot of times I'll tell people, I'm like, I don't want to meddle, so just slap me if I'm overstepping my bounds. But I see something that I see is so easily solvable, and it's hard for me not to say something. And so, obviously, if they told me, like, I don't care, I want to be mad, I'm not going to.
Right. And some people just want to be mad. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Well, and then it ties back into, we talked about the Enneagram thing, and I'm finding that super useful. And I started really studying it more and more and starting to try to guess what people are. And it's just like crazy how crystal clear so many things are whenever I see two people that are like, somebody comes complaining to me like, oh, my spouse does this or that. And I'm like, oh, great. Well, you both want the same thing, but you're just getting mad at the way they're saying it to you. So
Right.
So it's, that really usually is what the problem is at the end of the day. So, that's those types of things where, again, I don't want to meddle, but it's so easily solved that I'm like, well, why don't I just try to plant the seed? I can't stop. I can't hold back. So, so that's one thing. I'm trying to think of anything else like super, but that's ongoing, or just sharing knowledge, sharing like, hey, I was thinking about this last night, and getting people's opinion. I just find that interesting, and getting their perspective, or one last thing I'll say is, I thought about this week, and this is really crazy. I'm going to be embarrassed to share this, but I will. I realized just yesterday, I was like, wow, I could literally have a recorder in my brain with a speaker broadcasting all my thoughts, and I wouldn't be embarrassed anymore.
No, right.
Like, I could speak in stream of consciousness all day, and no one would be offended by me. And you know why? It's because now I love myself. And I realized I used to walk around and be like, I'm not, this is the part where I'll be embarrassed, but I've changed my ways. I've repented. So you know what, if you want to be mad at me about it, I didn't even know I was doing it. Right. I would literally walk around and be like, oh, that person looks like that, like criticizing everyone.
Judging everyone. Judging.
And I realized the other day or yesterday, when I was thinking about, like, I wouldn't be embarrassed by anything going on in my head anymore. I thought,
well, that's awesome.
I walk around now and I look at people, I'm like, I wonder how I could help that person. I wonder what that person's doing later today. I I see somebody running down the street and they're barely make it, they're running slow. I'm not like, oh gosh, that lady's running slow. I'm like, wow, yay, you. Yeah. I can't wait to see what you become. I know. Like, I just want to see you grow.
Well, so I'm in the middle of that right now. I'm in the middle of that. I find myself finding encouraging things to think about most people, but every now and again, I'm not right. No, what I'm saying is I want to be in control of my thoughts, or I want to give my control to God, that he can, and I know that my thoughts will be straight and good if he's in control of them. Right. But I still wrangle my own control back often. We do that. That's a human condition, I think. And yeah, but I'll do the same thing, Lesley. I'll be going down the road and I'll think and I'll just something will happen. I'll see something that'll make me go, oh my goodness. I'm like, what did I, but the cool thing is I immediately check myself.
Yeah.
I immediately say, oh, Lee, why did you do that? And that's where I am. So exactly. So hopefully I'm in the transition period right now where I'm going from chastising myself for judging people to being not judging people and just, to an extent, like you just said, though, I wonder how I could help them. There's still some judgment in that you're trying to figure out how they could be helped. Why and why? Okay, that's fine. I understand. It
depends on the intention behind it.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree.
If you're literally truly just doing something for them and you have no gain in it whatsoever, I think it's just like almost just like a nurturing emotional connection that you're starting to build. As opposed like almost like treating people like your child, hey, I just, that person needs a door held open. I'll wait an extra, I don't care if it takes 5 minutes. I'll wait.
Yeah.
So, but I get what you're saying too. Like if you're like looking to be like, well, you're doing this wrong, I need to help you here. I mean, that's really not very.
Yeah.
that may not be received quite.
But I think that recognizing that someone might need help is a form of judgment, but it's not bad judgment. It's good. You're saying, ooh, that guy looks like he could really use some help. Yeah. And somebody else might say to you, well, why do you assume they need some help? No, I didn't assume that. I just it looked like that person might need some help and I want to help them. It's a difference in that guy needs some help. I've done that before.
Right.
I go, that guy needs some help. Keep walking.
Yeah. I don't need to send him to a shrink.
Yeah, exactly. Man, you need help, buddy. That kind of thing.
It's kind of one of those things where like here's kind of an example. I was in Walmart the other day and this lady was with a guy. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention. They were at the checkout counter and I looked over and she was crying and I was walking out and I thought I should have asked her if she was okay. But then I was like, well, I don't want her to be like upset with me for saying something. And I thought, you know what? I should just establish a personal rule. So if I that allows me to ask that. And if anybody gets offended, I say, hey, I'm not judging you. I just have a personal rule.
Right.
I ask people. And if you tell me you don't need help, then I go away. But I don't want to live with myself if I didn't.
Right.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. No. I don't think it's a bad thing either. I will tell you that what I've tried to do, can't say that I do it because I'm not consistent, but what I try to do, especially I'm actually in the mode when I'm at work, when I was doing security at the school or whatever. I see a kid, I see an adult, a teacher, that looks like something's going on, and there's a discernment ability that I have as well. But I ask and to get a sense from my relationship with God, is this something I need to do? Do you want to approach this person? And sometimes it's like, no. keep moving. I've had that before where I've felt an urge to just keep walking when I want to stop and talk to somebody. And it's been like, not for your time. I mean, I think I remember telling you one time, I may have told you this. I've told other people this story before. When I worked as a food service manager at the Kmart, I was there in charge of their deli, and I was making subs, and I heard this lady at the cashier talking, and she had these two kids with her, and it was in the middle of the school day, so I thought that was odd. She was in a wheelchair, and she was laughing and smiling and giggling, but she looked kind of whatever. I just kind of looked up because they were making noise. They were making noise. I looked up and I caught eyes with her, and I got scared to death. I mean, I just was like, whoa. And I looked away, and I went and then I heard her say to her little friend, let's go over and get a sample of icy and maybe some popcorn. And I'm like, I had this sense immediately in my heart and my body, don't deal with this lady. And so I went in the back and I asked my lady who I work with to go take care of the customer. And she said, okay. And I just stayed in the back. And I even heard her say, where'd that nice gentleman that was out here go? But it was something spiritually weird about that whole situation. And I really felt like God said, you're not dealing with her today. You're not going to get involved with that. You're going to go in the back and somebody else can take care of it. And I mentioned that to Na, who is my little Vietnamese lady that worked for me. And she said, yeah, something was off with her, So I don't know what would have happened, what could have happened, but I felt that's one of the instances in my life where I felt like I had divine intervention that said, no, you're not dealing with this. And it's happened before, and I don't want to need to get into all that. But with that particular person, I was told, nope, you're not messing with this person. There's too much there.
Well, you can call it divine intervention, but another great way I think of saying it too is the more you're walking in your own truth.
Yes.
And God's truth.
Well, that's your truth.
So it's coming from from God, like if you want to say divine intervention, but it's also just that when you're doing that, those feelings are stronger and you start recognizing them.
Sure.
And I think that's when you get more of those, when you've had the feelings all along. You're just recognizing it because they're not covered with lies anymore.
That's right.
So you're feeling them. You're getting their actual truth.
That's right.
I told somebody, I'm like, nowadays I will pout with myself inside my head. I sound like I have like multiple personalities, but there's times now because like I realized like I'm a very reactive person. I act on gut instinct, and I have a problem with I don't want to be controlled. And so I'll have a situation occur that makes me mad, and I'll want to do what I always did, which was type up a nasty text. And as I'm hitting send going, you probably shouldn't do that. And then the other little voice going, hit send.
Right.
Don't think about it, Lesley. Just hit send. That makes you feel good. Click.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you're like, a couple days later, you're like, maybe I should have used a little more logic there. But like now what I do is I recognize it and I'm in my head going, but I want to do something. I'm like, you can't do that anymore. You don't do that anymore. I'm like, but I don't like it. Like I'm literally having this going on in my head, but I don't let myself do it anymore.
Right.
So it's been interesting.
Well, we ought to just counsel with each other. You want to do that send before you hit that send. Call Lee. Yeah. Lee, I'm going to tell you what's happening. Yeah, I want to hit send.
My alcohol.
It's nice to have that.
You're there like my sponsor for anger. Anger management sponsor.
And you're mine. That's fine. We'll just be each other's anger management sponsors. Because ultimately, we would be good for ourselves. However, it's good to have that outside. We can't do it ourselves often. It's nice to have that. It's just like that's basically the whole thing about AA is yes, can you stop drinking? Ultimately, you should be able to stop drinking on your own. Ultimately. You have it within you. However, it's going to be a little bit easier process if you have someone to keep you accountable. And
it's that giving yourself that space between the incident and the response to deal with the emotion without reacting first. And it's whether you stop to pick up the phone and call your sponsor, or you stop and breathe and count to 10, or you pout inside your head. It's that little space to make you, it's actually what's going to make you happy. It's being responsible.
Yeah. I mean, you have a friend that calls and says, "Hey, Lee, what's up?" I'm like, "Not much." And it's like, "Okay, cool. Just wanted to check in with you." "All right. What's up?" "Nothing." "Okay. All right." And you hang up. Well, guess what? That might have been that guy who called. That he needed to make that call because he needed to take a break from whatever he was doing. He didn't need to tell me anything. He just needed to say, "What's up?" Just checking in. And as the person who's getting that call, you don't get offended. You don't get mad that they're calling at 2 a.m. You just go, "Cool. All right. See ya."
Or it's an honor. You're like, wow.
It is an honor. I remember I had not an employee, but a colleague when we used to sell cars called me at 3 a.m. And I remember I just answered the phone. "Hello." And he's like, "Hey, Lee, you up?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was sleeping." But whatever, I was just like, because I didn't wake up, I just said, "Hello." And he's like, "Well, I know I'm calling you at 3 a.m. So why are you so chipper? Are you still awake?" And I'm like, "No, I was sleeping." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, anyway, somebody had backed into the demo that he was driving, and he was all worried."
Right.
And I said, "Dude, you don't have to worry about it. Give a call in the morning. Just let the boss know in the morning someone backed into you." They have insurance. We have insurance. That's part of my salary is driving that demo, because I don't have to pay insurance. I don't have to pay for gas. I don't have to pay for a car. And that's part of my salary, because at the time we weren't selling cars, so I wasn't making money selling cars. I mean, I did, but anyway, that demo was a huge benefit for me, is that I had a car to drive. I didn't have to pay for. I had insurance. I didn't have to pay for. I had gas I didn't have to pay for. And
we need that now. Where's our demos?
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? So, hey, listen, back in the day when real estate was so huge, they used to have cars for their real estate agents. The companies had cars for their agents to drive.
Some of them still do.
Maybe. Yeah,
some of them still do. Or they wrap them. But now I could wrap my car. I never would before. I was like, I don't want to wrap my car. What if
I don't want people judging me?
Right. I was like, what if I give somebody the finger and run them off the road, and then they call and report me? I don't know who I am. No.
That's like the people who put I've heard so many comedians. I listen to a lot of Christian comedians too, but talking about the people who have the fish on their car and they cut people off. It's like, what a great example you're showing, a nice cross on the back of their car, and they're cutting you off.
Right.
Or they're throwing the bird out the window at you, and that kind of stuff. And it's like, hey.
Yeah, so that can be my outward sign. The day that I have my car wrapped is the day I've completely metamorphosized into who I'm supposed to be, because I'm not afraid to drive with my name on my car.
All right. Well, we went way over time, but I like going over time.
Half an hour flew by. I can't believe
you're a beautiful soul, and I just love talking to you. So we could do this for hours, honestly. But
I know
we don't have that kind of time. We got to move on to other things and make.
I know, and my internet was being a pain in the neck. So, but now I'm going to do my watch party as soon as we get off.
Okay. All right. So, we'll talk to you later. And when you do the watch party, you can actually comment with the people. As playing. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Because right now it's hard to keep track. I mean, I'm looking over here and I see that Tura and David Ing.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see who was saying hi.
And my mom was watching. She's probably still watching. That's a first.
Hi, Mom.
I mean, it's not a first that she's watched, but it's the first that she actually hit like.
Oh, awesome.
So she must like you.
I'm honored. I'll have to go meet your mom. Where does your mom live? I want to go meet her.
We're all in Burke. A bunch of Burkeites.
I better get an invitation to your family reunion.
Well, that's in Texas. So you have to come all the way to Texas for the family reunion.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful weekend. TGIF, everybody.
Thank you.
See you guys later.
All right. Take care.
Bye.